Hey, what's up? Yeah, this is a little different. Welcome to this Power Ranger toy review slash reflection. I don't know what it's gonna call it really, but you're not seeing my face today, obviously for the reason because I want the spotlight to be on the toys. But you're probably wondering why I'm doing this, why I have all the Zords up on the table and stuff like that. By the way, this is the set for my podcast that I do with a friend named Tim. You should go check it out. Link in description or wherever, if you can put it wherever. Um, but you're probably wondering why I'm doing this. And the reason I think is very simple. Growing up, I mean, if you've seen some of my videos already, you probably know that I love Power Rangers. I'm a big fan, and I grew up with them, and it's sort of something that stuck with me over the years. Even though I've grown into a man, or like somewhere close, hopefully. Um, but yeah, I've loved Power Rangers for a very long time, and I would go back and buy toys whenever I used to go to Taiwan because my family is from there and stuff like that. So every year I would go back and I would beg and plead my mom to buy toys and because I love Power Rangers so much and because it was Super Sentai was really big in Asia and toy stores everywhere had these types of things. Um, it it allowed sort of me to have this growing passion of collecting Zords. And Zords were, I felt more cooler than the action figures because with the action figures, you have the Ranger, that's cool, but with the Zords, you had their robotic, sometimes friends or their machines that they used to defeat the villains or whatever. And the Zords were always the coolest part of the episode. The fighting was cool, but when they got big and you got to see the robots fight, that was the coolest part. But yeah, so I ended up collecting some of the seasons. I don't have them all, obviously, for monetary reasons, but I do have some. And the reason I wanted to do this in this sort of format was because growing up, there was a guy named JT Mitchell, 87, I believe. And he used to do these sort of long form, very long videos of just reviewing the toys and going through, season by season and up until I think In Space. And he used to just do these long form videos where he would talk about the toys, whether he liked them or not, the articulation points or whatever, what they were made of. And I ate that up as a kid. I remember would have been 2009, I think, was In Space when he uploaded that video. I'm gonna check it in a second, but um I think it was 2009 when he uploaded that video, and I would have been in primary school at that time. So you know he's that those videos were sort of a way for me to experience the toys that I never got to experience, and it's a very good childhood memory. I remember sitting in my dad's truck while he used to go shopping, and then watching those videos on his phone that he let me borrow, and it was just this very nice experience. And now I wanted to sort of do that same sort of content, but obviously with my toys and a newer season of Power Rangers. Actually, JT Mitchell, who the sort of video is inspired by, he's doing videos again. I think he's always has been. I think he took a hiatus um, for a little bit. I don't know. I haven't really caught up. But he released his Lost Galaxy video earlier this year. So if you want to check that video, I'll put it somewhere up here, description again. But yeah, big shout out to you, JT. I don't know what your real name is, to be honest. I'm sorry, but I'll just refer to you as your IGN. Um, Thank you for making this sort of a childhood memory of mine that I look so fondly on, and I really appreciate you, dude. Like, I know you probably get this all the time from a bunch of your friends who you watch this content, but this was a big part of my childhood, and I really enjoyed those videos. So this is sort of my love letter to you and to that sort of community of people. So without further ado, let's get into it, I guess. Starting out with the main five. So this is would be yeah. So let's start out the main Megazord. Like right. All right, cool. We're back. The snap didn't really work. All right, cool. So the main five Zords. Now this is the Sky Ship. This was sort of the main Megazord for the Rangers. Again, Super Megaforce was a variation of Gokaiger, the Super Sentai. So Gokaiger was its own Super Sentai, its own season, but in the American dub, Megaforce and Super Megaforce were just lumped together. So you had the Megaforce Rangers, but you also had the Super Megaforce, the Gokaiger line of toys, and their powers. So I guess they would like turn legendary mode or whatever, and then they would get the Gokaiger powers. But yeah, so this is the skyship that they named. So it's the main guy. Let's start off with this one because I'll get into in the show. Basically, it starts out with this guy, and then these sort of pop out of him. So I'll start with this, and then I'll go in order as they come in the show. So this is the skyship, the main red Ranger toy. In the Super Sentai, it was the sort of command ship for them. And then this is sort of like their base of operations. But then obviously Gosei was the mentor figure, so they had the Ranger cave with all the Ranger keys and whatever. But yeah, so this is the skyship. It comes with pretty much no variations other than this and this transform mode. You have these sort of things that can bend here. In terms of articulation, there's no real sort of major sort of moving parts. He's very stationary. He can roll. He can do the whole, because he's got wheels in the bottom. He can roll pretty easily. But yeah, these were sort of flying Zords. You could compare these to like your SWAT Zords from SPD. But yeah, there's no real. It's mainly plastic, and I think that's one of the main gripes I have with this season in general, is that there's just a lot of plastic in this line of toys. There's not a whole ton of die cast, if any. I don't believe. I'm feeling like I don't feel any metal parts. Like all of these sort of gray parts here, as you can see, are just painted chrome plastic. So yeah, there's not really too much die cast, as if I can see any. But I think they make up for it in terms of the gimmick, which I'll get into later, which this clock is all about. So yeah, that's the skyship. And then in the show, what would happen is that when they summon the Zords, they would pop out of this sort of top piece here. So it would come this one, and then this one. If you can imagine, like they would just pop out of each other because if you remember, the gimmick of this line of Zords is that they could have like these little compartments, right? So oh wait, a little spoiler for the Megazord too. So this one would come out, and then this one, and then I think it was green, and then blue, and then blue. So I'll start off with this one. This one is our I guess like pirate truck sort of situation. They didn't really give them sort of names or any real sort of forms of differentiating. I don't believe. There was. At least I don't think. Let me check that really quick. Okay, so yeah, I'm back. Okay, so there are names for these, but I don't recognize these at all. But I'll attempt to name them. So this is the Super Mega Wheeler. These are all going to be super long because they all have Super Mega in front of it. But yeah, so this is the Super Mega Wheeler. Again, like this, it can roll. Fancy. But other than that, there's no real sort of major gimmick with this. In terms of articulation, there's only about this little main thing here, which is this little nub, and then it attaches here. And then you can move it around, give it a little sort of payload situation, a little Optimus Prime kind of action. Well, that's that. Next up, we have the Super Mega Sub, which is it's literally just a brick. There's no movement here. It's purely plastic, just like the Wheeler. I love the paint job on these, though. They really do a good job of painting these in a way to make them look sort of as close to the Sentai as possible without sort of using the most expensive materials. And I think the paint job makes up for a lot of the parts that aren't, metal, like in Ninja Storm was one that had a lot of die cast in it. But they make up for it in terms of the paint. And I really enjoy sort of these colors, even though, again, this one is pretty just yellow. But I think the sub, they do a really good job of painting it. But that's that. It can roll again like all the other ones. And the only things that can move are these things here. You can kind of give it like a mouth if you really wanted to. It's a little sort of a little but anyways, let's move on. This is the I didn't put the fist in for this one, but this is the Super Mega Racer. This is sort of, again, I think this was Jake's Zord. The Blue Ranger, his name was Noah, right? So this is Jake's Zord. It's a racer. It's a speedy car. All the wheels move. There's no articulation otherwise, no different materials. There is a little bit of movement here, but this is only for the transformation. So you can kind of give it like a, those cars that can, what are those called? Lowriders. You can kind of give it like a lowrider feel, or like maybe like an an X Games kind of feel. But other than that, yeah, this is pretty much it. Let me give you a close up if the camera will focus. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Nice. That looks nice. All right, I'm gonna do that for all the other ones in case, so you get a little close up here. There it is. There we are. Look at that. So yeah, you can see the paint job on this one really well. And then the wheeler. There we go. Nice. Nice action. Yeah, that's that. All right. Last but not least, we have the Super Mega Jet Zord. This is Noah's Zord. It's a jet. It's a jet, dude. But yeah, so you can kind of see the fist coming out there. I would say they cheated a little bit by making this fist stagnant, even though they made it sort of movable or like retractable in the Green Zord. But yeah, this one can wheel as well. The wheels actually can come up and sort of lock into place here. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this one. In terms of articulation, there is none. The wings fold in and out, but that's mainly for the transformation. And other than that, that's pretty much it. So in order to make these guys into the Megazord, first we're gonna go with this guy. So in the show, I think the skyship starts out first, and it kind of comes in. There's steam and everything, and it folds all its flaps down. It gets ready its first transformation by pulling all this down, pushing down like that. I think this one comes up actually. So and then you have something like this, and then these swords break down, and then it comes and reveals the head of the Zord. And then this guy kind of stays here like this for a little bit, and we'll get back to the swords later. So if I could just set this guy down kind of like that. Yeah, it kind of works. And then next off, all these guys here. So the wheeler, I'll put this guy to the side. The wheeler, the sub, the racer, and the jet would come together, and then they would sort of line up like this, and then they would all do their individual transformations in a row. So I think if we went in sequence, so the wheeler comes like this, it breaks off. There's a little nub here, and this sort of thing breaks off, and then there's a little contact point that you can put this in, and then this guy just becomes like this little leg here. And also mind you that these did it sort of like in sequence, so this guy would just stand here like this for a while. They don't balance properly because, as you can see, the they're uneven. There, that's a good shot of it right there. They're uneven here, so they don't really stand on their own. If I could just get this to focus on right there. They're uneven, so they don't focus, or they don't stand on their own, so I'll just leave that one like that. Next off is the sub. Sub comes in, legs fold out, or the feet fold out, and that's that. There's no other transformation for this one. I'll leave this one up. Oh, yep, okay, it's gonna work. So let's try and sort of have these together. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so next up is the racer. This guy comes in. He pretty much folds his wheels in so that he kind of has like a little arm brace sort of action going on. And then the fist, make sure you pull the fist out. And then there's that. And then that one can sit down right there. The jet has one thing in it, and it's that it conceals the helmet of the Megazord. Now, I'll get into why I love this helmet in a second, but basically all this guy does, his wings come down, they close in, and then their feet, or these sort of little feetsies, these little landing gears, I guess you would call them, those go in, make sure those go in, and then this guy's done, because he already has his fist come out, which is kind of a cheat, in my opinion. So yeah, so those are all the sort of individual transformations, and then now they all just come together. So I believe the arms came together first. So you would have just make sure these are the right way. So you would have the red skyship, then I can't do it together because I don't have like 5 arms, but the racer and the jet Zord, they attach. There we have the arms, and then the legs came in at the very end, and then they would just lock in here. And so we have this, and then the swords. Well, this is sort of like the I don't know what you would call it on an actual pirate boat, but these sort of like the tip of the boat. These pull apart and become the swords of the ship, and then make sure you just fold this guy in. I think it went that way, or something like that. Oh, something like that. Yeah, it folds in like that, so you can kind of conceal it and put it on. And these dock into the little rings here on the Megazord. I don't know if you can see that right there. These sort of dock in there, and then oops, there we go. And then one more goes right in here, like just like that. And then these are also able to move a fair bit, so that's kind of nice. And my favorite part about this Megazord is that after the transformation was complete, he would sort of like put it on himself. Obviously, there's no articulation. You see that the arm just fell off, but there's no articulation in the arms, like a forearm joint. So, in the show, he would sort of like put it on himself, which I thought was the coolest part of the Megazord. And that kind of comes in like that. And there you have it. There's the Megazord. It's kind of cool, isn't it? So yeah, this Megazord's kind of good. I like it. Not too much though, because there's no joints. It's very, piece. But the one thing I do find really cool about it, and we'll get into this with the rest of the Zords, is that it has this gimmick in the back. Now in the show, when they would do the final strike, they would turn the clock, and then all the things would open up. And I'll do it I'll just turn it counterclockwise so you guys can see. So that would come out like that. And then boom, you have your final strike position. What I find weird is that there's no little sticker here or on these two, but there are stickers here, which kind of makes no sense. But yeah, so this little thing is like the big cannon thing that they would use as the final strike. I like this. This is a cool gimmick to have everything pop out at once, but it comes at a cost of these things being really hollow. And the reason why they're hollow, well, you guessed it, it's because there's something cool going on with the rest of the Zords. But yeah, that's that. The Megazord is kind of cool. Let's get into the other Zords, though. Okay, so after the main Megazord, we have a bunch of smaller Zords before Orion gets introduced into the show. So I don't believe I'm showing this in continuity, but I do remember that the SPD car and the Delta Runner and then the Mystic Dragon come in before the Red Lion Zord. But anyways, so this is the Mystic Dragon Zord. Obviously, it's based on, the Mystic Force TV series that came out before it. This is a legacy season, need I remind everybody. So yeah, I like this Zord a lot because it brings back a lot of good memories. The head shape is very similar to the dragon form of the Mystic Force Megazord, in their dragon mode. It's very similar to that. It has sort of the wings and stuff like that. The color scheme is very similar to Korag, and actually it's more of a harken back to Lianbo, actually, with the red and the black, and it also has the nice Mystic Force logo, which is really cool, really cool touch. And then obviously you have the Super Megaforce logo, the sort of detailing in here. Again, it's mainly plastic here, guys. Not much I can say. The wings fold in, but that's mainly for the transformation. The head kind of comes down and bobs up and down like this. You can sort of like spaz out like this, I guess. And the arms move a little bit, which is a little cool addition. But otherwise, there's no sort of feet here. They're sort of like stapled onto the side. And the mouth is, it's open. You can sort of meh, meh, meh. And then the ear, the sort of like ears situation kind of comes up. He can be like alert or like really sad or like sort of neutral. And then you can kind of give that. The mouth extends actually really far back for some odd reason. But yeah, she's like, oh my god. Anyways, that's that. So in order to transform this guy, he doesn't transform the way you would think in the show. Like, he's not a Zord that's flying around and then he comes in combined with the Megazord. He actually starts out inside the Megazord. So in order to get him inside the Megazord, first what you got to do is on the main Megazord here, you got to sort of pop this little flap here. It's kind of hard to see if let me try to focus the camera. Yeah, so there's this flap right in here that you sort of pull, and then the cannon sort of just comes out. There's a little ejector thing inside. And so, oh, I just knocked him over. So now you have a blank slate in terms of stuff that you can do with this guy. So now the Mystic Dragon comes apart into 5 different pieces, obviously, for the 5 different holes that there are in the body. And then what I like is that they come with little stickers to indicate which Zord it goes into. So for instance, these 2 feetsies go into the going to the yellow and the pink Zord accordingly. So you would just pop these guys in here, and then they sort of just snap in, and then what you can do is you can just cover it up later. And then these guys go in here. It's kind of, sometimes it's a little hard to snap them right in. These guys go in here like this. The wings actually come down, they fold inwards. You guys can probably already see where this is going. But yeah, it just takes me a second because I got to remember how everything fits and everything like that. So, is it this way? Oh yeah, it is this way. Okay, wonderful. There it is, and then that folds in. It's been a hot minute since I played with these toys, to be honest. I love legacy stuff. I love this season because it's a legacy season, but I don't necessarily love it because of the acting, and like the season's okay overall, but I think I love it because it's a legacy season, and we got to see like Casey, the Red Jungle Fairy Ranger again, and he's my favorite Power Ranger of all time. All right, cool. So now we just have this sort of thing lying around. You can put that off to the side. You don't need it. So now we have a new 5 inside the Megazord. So now all you got to do is flip the switch in the back, and whoa, it comes out. Oh, it didn't come out all the way. Did I lock it too hard? Sometimes they don't come out all the way, and I noticed that. Oh, it didn't lock in the first place. There it is. Look at that. There it is. And then you got to kind of fold the ears like this up, and then now you have this Megazord, the Mystic Force Megazord, and this guy can fly around like this, and then he flies in the show. He flies, and I think he takes down a bunch of stuff. What I don't like is that this thing kind of just hangs out here, and it gets a little precarious into where this, you know, how this fits into the whole picture. I guess there's nothing you can really do about it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, there's little articulation. This stuff up here also prevents the arms to move upwards when there's stuff in here, because it hits and then it's hard to move the whole thing together. But yeah, as a stationary object, it looks great. You know, this whole like it's spread eagle sort of situation. But I mean, there's not much utility in like kids. I found it hard to play with these as a kid. And it is more fun to look at, I guess, really. Which you could argue is most Power Ranger toys, but I like to play with mine because I guess I was a kid when I bought them, right? So yeah, that's that. Let's move on to the next one. I don't think there's much else to say about this. Oh, I forgot to show you guys what the Megazord looks like with the swords out. Sorry. So the swords just come out here. You can put them in the arms, just like so. And actually, I believe there's a rule with these. So I misplaced the swords originally because the blue Zord has this little indent here. I don't know if you can see. I'll take it off right here. There's a little indent for the sword, and that's because the sword has this extra little piece dangling off of it, so you can't insert it. So you have to sort of stick it to him and give it to him as a sword, sort of like handshake it to him. Yeah, like that. And that sort of curls up in there. And then this one can just be slotted into the green Zord, the Racer Zord here. The Super Mega Racer. Like that, like so. And now you have two little swords that you can cut around with. The arms barely move though, so it's a little bit, this upward slicing action is sort of all you get with both of these Zords. But yeah, that's that. On to the next Zord. Okay, next up we have the Delta Racer Zord from, now this is obviously SPD. It clearly says SPD. This is Jack's Zord from the original SPD series, Daka Ranger if you want to call it that. This is probably as close as I will ever get to owning the SPD Zords, the Delta Zords. Just simply because it's so expensive nowadays for it and stuff like that. And you know, I'm just glad I have something from the SPD line of toys, I guess. Now, this actually has a battery in it. I don't know if it still works. Oh, it still does. Hello. So this thing can roll, obviously. It rolls on these wheels, so that's really nice. These are just painted plastic. Yeah, you can kind of see it's wearing off on mine already. And I don't think I've played with these much. To be honest, but yeah, I love the paint on this. I love the Delta Zords. I love SPD, one of my favorite seasons, and I love how this thing looks, man. they just made Zords differently back then, and I just love SPD and how this thing looked. The red is so nice, and obviously you have the Super Megaforce logo and stuff like that. But I feel like as a legacy Zord, they really did the thing justice. And I just wish that in the actual show, the American show, the Power Ranger, the Super Megaforce, I wish they had done more with this, because in the show they did the, you know, it's nighttime and then it had the SPD sort of aesthetic, but they never played like any of the theme songs from the old songs when they had a legacy moment. Like the classic SPD theme song was so good, and then the Mystic Force one too, actually. So anyways, so let's see what the battery actually does. It just revs. Oh, hear that? I'll put it up to the mic so you can hear. I put the mic over here so you can hear it. Ready? Here we go. So that's the classic SPD sounds, right? The whoop whoop. And then I think since these are the Sentai Zords, I hope I made that clear before. Since these are the Sentai Zords, they're in obviously the Daka Ranger thing. So let's see what I think this was actually the voice in the Daka Ranger. I'm not too sure though. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I mean, this Zord is cool, man. I don't care if it has like little movement at all. I just love the fact that it's from the SPD line of Zords. Anyways, I'm gonna put this into the Zord, or sorry, into the Megazord. So I'm just gonna skip me putting it in because it's a lot of the same. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna skip. I don't know why I said that. So in order to transform this guy, these bits come off. All 5 sort of bits come off, and then they insert themselves into the Megazord. So these guns actually have 2 options. You can either put them within the Megazord, which I'll show in a second, or you can use them as the Delta pistols that Jack had in SPD. I think this is such a cool addition, to have the Delta pistols, the Delta guns. I don't even know what you would call them. But it's so cool that they would remember to put Jack's guns within that. So, I mean, look at that. That's awesome. It just reminds me of SPD a lot. It reminds me of the first time I saw the first episode of SPD when Jack morphs, and then he takes on that guy by himself. And then he uses the Delta pistols, and he just, like, blasting people. Do you remember that? Does anyone else remember that episode? Oh, comment down below if you remember that episode. It was such a good episode. First episode of SPD, when he decides to come back and join SPD. Because Z's all like, oh, it's better for us. And Jack's like, no, I'm better off on the streets. And then he goes and saves the Rangers. SPD is one of the best seasons of all time, in my opinion. But anyways, getting back to Super Megaforce, a less good season. But yeah, so there's that option. But you also have the option of putting them within the Zords themselves. Oh no, it is like that. I'm sorry, I just didn't push it in all the way. There we go. And then I'll show it one more time with everything together. I'm handling these very poorly because they're mine. Oh, other way. Sorry. And you can probably notice that my Racer Zord, this one that I'm handling right now, it doesn't open quite as well. I think it's just because the lock on mine is a little too overcranked or undercranked. I don't even know. But yeah, there we go. Everything locks in there. Everything's very inconspicuous. Can't see it. And then, bop! Whoa! Look at that. And then you got a little minigun action. In terms of moving parts, is the same. You got the little rolling miniguns here. Personally, I don't think it's as cool as having the guns out, but I mean, hey, right? So anyways, that's that. Moving on, let's move on to the first carrier Zord of the season, and arguably one of the cooler looking ones. Now, I do want to say one thing before I finish. I realize, okay, you guys were probably like clawing your eyes out, but there are ejector tabs for each of the Zords. So back here, there's one here, there's two back here, and those are to eject the pieces as they come out. So if I could quickly demonstrate, this one goes in like here, and then you can just eject it with this push button, and then they pop out like that. So sorry if I was not doing that. I'm just like, yanking them out. But yeah, that's a feature. I didn't want to, you know, make it look like they're terrible Zords. They're poorly made. No, they actually put a lot. I think in all Super Sentai Zords, they put a lot of effort into making it functional. And I haven't really owned any Bandai Zords, one of the American Zords, so I don't really know the difference. But I always feel like the Super Sentai Zords are always well made enough to which they're functional. You know, they definitely vary season to season, as you can see with, you know, this one. But Gokaiger was probably a really good season in Japan, where they had a lot more legacy stuff. But I guess in the Neo Saban version, it was just a little bit tougher. So I shouldn't go too hard, considering these are the Super Sentai Zords. But yeah, that's that. So jumping ahead in continuity here, we have the Gao Lion Zord, or the Red Lion Wild Zord, from Wild Force. This is a really crazy Zord. I mean, I never owned Gao Lion back in the day. Actually, that's a lie. I do have a Gao Lion, but it's not a very good Gao Lion. But this Red Lion Zord is just really almost identical to the original one. I don't remember there being as much in terms of paint job. I don't think it's 1-to-1, but it's very similar, and it's very nice looking as well. So in terms of paint, there's no die cast on this, like I mentioned. A lot of it is plastic, but it is a very nice feeling Zord. It's very rugged, and you kind of want that from a carrier Zord, and as we'll get into in a bit. But it can roll. I'll sort of let out the feet early to show you. It's not supposed to roll right away, and I'll get into why in a second. I'll get into it right now. It's a carrier Zord, so it's sort of your Titanus situation. But it can roll if you fold the feet out, and then it can kind of roll like this. But in terms of articulation, there's none in the first 2 legs. The mouth can open shut, and like kind of like talk like, "Ah, how you doing?" sort of situation. And the back legs can move, but it's only for the transformation. So otherwise, in terms of movement and articulation, there's nothing here. But putting that aside, this is a carrier Zord. So in the show, I believe like the Wild Zord was sort of in the animarium or whatever they called it in Wild Forest. I don't quite remember. But it was just hanging out, and then I guess it went to go help the Rangers or whatever, and then the Rangers gained its trust, and they allowed it to combine with them. But first, so we're gonna put it into the carrier mode, I suppose. So what you're gonna do, and all you're gonna do really, is just take the legs off of the main Megazord, just like so. So you have it in sort of this formation, right, like just like that. And then all you're gonna do, you're just gonna slap it on to this side. You kind of gotta remove the swords because it gets in a way. But all you gotta do is just sort of snap it down. Oh man, this guy doesn't like it. It hasn't been in there in a while. There we go. Snap it in right there. Is it even? Yeah, it's even. Okay. And there you have it. This is the first carrier mode of the season. Again, it's kind of lackluster in the sense that like there's not really much articulation going on except for the arms. It kind of looks like it's just it's like a centaur almost situation. But you can't put the swords back in. And then I believe they had something like this in the show where it was just sort of slashing back and forth. Like it would just slash enemies like hiya, like that. So yeah, that's the carrier part of the Zord. And what you can also do with the Zord though is combine it to make sort of like the first Ultra Zord situation. It's not really an Ultra Zord in terms of like the final Ultra Zord that they do, but it's just something very close. So I'll do that now. Sorry, I forgot one thing. I quickly ran to go get it, but there's actually a tail that comes with this Zord. I forgot to put it on. I'll actually take it off so that you can see it without the Megazord piece. But yeah, there's a tail on this, and I'm sorry if I poorly represented this. But yeah, that's that. There's no movement on this. It's actually the helmet of the Ultra Zord. So, and I'll get into why this is a little bit interesting in a second. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It can kind of fold out, but then that's just for the transformation. So I'll leave that there. So to transform this, all you got to do, it's quite simple. Let me just click this back into place. There you go. Okay, so all you got to do, you got to detach this back portion of the Zord. So you're going to pull this out this little thruster piece. That'll become the weapon of the Zord. And then I believe you can pull the bottom out, but I don't remember how. The back legs come out. These are just used to balance. These aren't even for balance, to be honest. They're just made for aesthetic, I guess. It can perfectly stand. That's why the front feet are so big, because it can perfectly stand like this. And then this mallet comes out via. Let me check really quick. I think if you just pop it out, yeah. So this portion is just a connector piece with inside here. So this just pulls out. I just had to give it a little bit of a yank, and then this becomes the illustrious. One of the illustrious weapons of the Zord. So this will fold inwards to become the Fire Smasher from Samurai. Now this is a weird combination. I don't know how I feel about this. How I quite feel about this, to be completely honest with you. It's weird. It's weird that Wild Force and Samurai had a team up. Even when I saw it in Super Megaforce, I was just like, it kind of made sense because Jaden and his dad, I think that's his dad, right? His dad were there in this episode, but I just found it a weird transformation, and I don't remember why. I don't even know the reason why it happened in Sentai like that. But and then also this headpiece comes off too. Don't forget to take that off, or it looks like it's got like a lion junk. But yeah, so now we're gonna put the legs. Each one has a little green and blue tab, which is nice. The legs fold inwards, so you want to make sure the Heelys are closed, and then they fold in. You're just gonna put them one by one into the Zord there, and then they connect via like sort of the heel of the thing. Now these don't collapse in this one, and I'll get into why in a second. So you're just gonna have to put them in. So they fold inwards, foot comes in, and then you put it right into the Megazord here, like that. And then obviously finally the head stays in. There's a battery piece to this. I've never turned it on though, so I don't really know what it's like. But here's the turning on of it. I'll put the mic close. Here we go. Oh, nice. That's the Gal Rangers, sort of the Daggers made that song. I think it was the whistle for when they called the Zords. That's pretty cool. I like that. There's also a little head button here you can press. Whoa. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that before. But yeah, so I guess that's part of it. These are just the Gal Lion things. But that's pretty cool that they did that. Anyways, put the head in here. And that's that. Just like that. So that looks pretty cool so far. We have the feet and the things in there. Let's equip him with some weapons, shall we? So I think the Fire Smasher goes into this hand here. Yeah. The Fire Smasher goes into this hand. And then there was something to do with this, with the swords, I believe, too. So I think the swords came in like this situation. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so, okay, these are just two separate weapons. They don't actually go together or fit into the Megazord together. So this is the first weapon. It was sort of like this javelin, sort of swingy guy. And then it would sort of connect itself into one hand. So here's what I find is the problem with these. They have all these weapons, but you can't equip them at the same time, and you kind of gotta like one at a time these things. So that was the first weapon, the main one there. And I mean, that looks pretty cool, right? I enjoyed that. That's a pretty dope looking weapon. I love long weapons like this where there's connector pieces and they're painted all the way through. I mean, this little middle part isn't, but the swords are, so it makes it look kind of nice. Overall, the paint job on this Megazord so far is great looking. But now we're gonna flip everything out, and here's why I think it kind of gets weird. Whoopsie, little technical bump. I accidentally didn't do something properly in the Megazord transformation, and I'll show you what it is right now. So before I had it, when I put these in, I didn't have this sort of flap unlocked, which would reveal, which is now, I guess the big reveal is spoiled. These are also double as the samurai emblems here. So anyways, so this clicks into place like this, okay? So with both of these paws, I guess these back leg, these hind legs, there's a little tab that you got to push down. Now it's gonna make a sound, and then it's not gonna sound very nice, but it's okay. Don't worry, it has to happen because they hide these little tabs in here. Okay, and what you do is you fold these tabs all the way out, and then you close it back up, and then you push it down like that. Okay, this tab will go with this little tab here on the Megazord, which will release it when you turn the back clock. So when you push it inwards, it yanks into place. And then if I could have it like this, and then put the mic in here, and I've done it on the other side already. But basically, what happens is that when you turn the clock, boom, boom, samurai mode. Now this was pretty cool. I enjoyed this. It was a pretty cool twist that the samurai Zords were in Gao Lion all along. So it's a very interesting meshing of seasons, and I love that fact. Even though I think it was kind of weirdly implemented in the show, I thought this is a really cool sort of assortment of things. And there you have it, the little fire smasher there. So that's the Red Ranger's signature weapon. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I enjoy this a lot. I enjoy this Megazord for what it is. I'm enjoying all the things that it's trying to do here. In terms of like trying to get as many legacy things in. I realize now this helmet isn't changed. Make sure you change this helmet guy. So that snaps off like that. And then this helmet comes on. And now we're full samurai, boys. Now we're full shogun. Full shogun. Look at that. Epic. Look at that. I love it. Anyways, that's that. I'll let you stare at it for a second. In terms of articulation, it's all the same. The legs actually are completely stagnant now because they're connected via this little back portion here. So there's really no movement. But I like the paint of this. I like the aesthetic of this looking. If you just had this standing here, I would consider it like a 10 out of 10. But just playing with it is kind of sucky. So it gets marked down for not having this sort of like cool points of articulation. You can move it. It's a agile figure. But otherwise, it's okay. I mean, it's not the best Megazord I've seen, but it's definitely up there in terms of like cool, gimmicky situations going on, which is nice. Anyways, moving on. Okay. All right, getting into our next Zord. This is the Q-Rex Zord, Orion Zord. And oh man, can I tell you how much of a throwback this is? This harkens back to the Dino Thunder sort of aesthetic of Zord. I mean, just look at how the face is very similar to the Dino Thunder the Tyrannosaur. And I mean, it didn't have thumbs back. It didn't have arms back there, but now we have thumbs. We now have arms on a dinosaur, which is awesome. A T-Rex Zord, keep in mind. And the feet are very similar to that old style of Zord. I mean, even the drill. This gimmick of this Zord in particular is very similar to the Tyrannosaur of Dino Thunder. Here's a little head-on view of him. It's hard to kind of get him head-on because you can't really see him. If I do that, oh well, if I do that, it already wants to do the gimmick. Yeah, that's the Q-Rex Zord. I love the look of this Zord, and I wish it had. I wish all the Zords have this level of sort of articulation, because I mean, the drill spins throughout the Zord. The arms are fully movable, which is awesome. We have a forearm joint for once, which is awesome, even though it's not used much later on. And we also have an open mouth sort of situation, like blah blah blah, like a little bit of blah 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 blah. Even though it hides a fist inside, it's one of the arms. But anyways. So this one has 2 modes, which is also awesome. I love Zords with like multiple modes, like a tank mode or whatever. But yeah, this thing has 2 modes. The first mode is obviously the dinosaur mode, the dino mode. But the second mode is very interesting. It's a drill mode. So let's get into that right now. All you're gonna do, you're gonna take off the drill like this, and then leave it off to the side for a little bit. You're gonna take both arms, and then you're gonna put them on the back, and this will make sense because it has little feet, little rollies on the bottom. So there's that, and then all you're gonna do is sort of lay it on its back. But we're not done here yet. What you're gonna do with the legs, you'll see these little fold out points here. and on both legs. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna fold it, sort of break its leg, and then like that pretty much. And then you're gonna fold it all the way around until this contact point meets this contact point here, and then that's gonna come in like that. And then you're just gonna fold these little butt cheeks in here like that, so it makes a little nub. I don't know if you could see that there, a little nub there. Fold that all the way in like here, and then we're in here. Yeah, and you're gonna fold the other leg the same way, fold in the butt cheek, and then now we have this little nub connector point here, and that's where the drill is gonna go. So right here, there's a little connector point. I don't know if you can see that right there. And then we're gonna put the drill in, insert it just like so. It'll click into place because that was used to sort of have the tail sort of face out a little bit. But now we have this, and make sure you fold it so that the arrow is pointing out. That'll make the most sense. And then now we have these two little landing gears that from the drill that point out. And this, oh, just kidding, we're not done yet. So this arm has two different connector points. So you're gonna take off the dyno piece from here, and then you're gonna insert it this way. How to do that though, I believe is quite simple. I believe though. Oh yeah, okay, so I understand now. So if you open up the main flap, it's the same. Ooh, scary. So you open up the main flap, kind of similar to how that is on the main Megazord, but there's gonna be it hides the head, and you're gonna flip it out like this, so that's longer, so you can have the Q-Rex head attached like so, just like that. And now we have the Q-Rex drill. I love Zords with like more than one mode. I love the fact that it's interchangeable. We have little thrusters on the back, little patterning here. I love this whole Zord. I love everything about it. It's just, there's so much detail in this, and a lot of, I mean, it's all plastic, but you know, the painting on this is really nice. It's very consistent. You know, it reminds me of Dino Thunder a lot. And there's actually something, let's see if I can get this to work. I don't remember specifically how to make this work, but I remember if you wound it up, I'm not too sure if that's the way to do it, but I remember if you wound it up, there's like a rotating thing on this. But yeah, anyways, a lot of detail. Love this Zord. To get into its Megazord mode, it's a lot of the same actually. So all we're gonna do is gonna take the drill off again, and then we're gonna break the legs back into place. Oh, dear me. These come off pretty easily. Mine are kind of old. Oh, also, the reason why it does that is because the nub is there, the little butt cheek is there. So you're going to want to fold that out of place. This shouldn't come out, technically, this joint, but I've messed with it so many times and forgotten to put the butt cheek in. It's always been like that. So the arms are going to stay back there. You can fold them out if it makes it easier. Just like that, you can fold them out to make it easier. You're going to come down here, break the leg back into place. Once you put the nub back, I forgot again, jeez. And then all you're gonna do is fold it down like that. So now we have two legs, but the head isn't right for some reason. So that's all we're gonna do, is we're gonna take the head off, and then we're gonna fold it outwards like that. That is a Dino Thunder mechanic they reused, and I'm okay because it's fine, because I love Dino Thunder so much. So you're going to put that there. That's the first arm. You're going to fold the head out to make the first fist. You're going to open this main flap here. And then the nub for the drill comes back in. You're going to flip this all out like that. And then there's our head for the Q-Rex Megazord. Push the thing back in. Push the chest plate back in. Now with the drill, you're going to fold the landing gear back in. Push the shoulder pad out. And then push it in like that. And there we have it, the Q-Rex Megazord. And then fold those out like that. There we have it, Q-Rex Megazord. I love this Zord. I love Zords that have 3 modes. I also love individual Zords that become their own Megazord. Like, the first one I can think of is like the Thunder Zord, the red Thunder Zord from Mighty Morphin. You know how like the dragon became its own Zord before it made a Megazord? I love those style of Zords. The butt cheeks become actual butt cheeks in the back. So there you go. There you have that. And then you can do whatever you want with these arms. You can make them like little wings or whatever. I like him like this because it makes me feel like he can fly. That's pretty much it. There's nothing really super special about this Megazord otherwise. It is hiding something a little special though. If you take this out, it's hiding a little harpoon little action. Oh, yeah, right. So if you wind this up like a rotisserie sort of thing, it can actually just sort of unwind by itself. And there it is. And then there's a little button at the back to unleash the winding of it. And it goes. It goes. It really, wow. I did not think it would go that fast. But yeah, it goes. So like this is sort of like the spin and spear attack that you got in Super Megaforce. You can also do it like this. I believe in the show at one point they have sort of like this pincer action, this sort of like shockwave. It looks like a Tesla weapon. And then you do the same thing. And then that happens. I believe the fist also moves. I'm not 100% on that. But I could be wrong. Oh, you also have to wind. I suppose you also have to wind this thumb. I'm not too sure. Oh, yeah, it looks like it will move. So if we get those two to move together. Here, let's break this together. So these two arms can actually move together if you move the head back into this place, because it's kind of locked with it out here like this because it can't quite move. So if you put the head back and then wind it up, these are sort of like old mechanics before batteries were a big thing for Super Sentai. These both move, and then now you have a little drill action here. I thought this was cool. I like that. But yeah, that's the Q-Rex Megazord. There are some like variations of Megazord that they did in the show. So for instance, the arms would come off of this guy. The arms, they would lend the arms. Orion would lend the arms to the original Megazord, and then they would all come in together to do like a final attack. So they had like this kind of action going on, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty much that. You know, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. They also did stuff with Gao Lion, I believe. So if you had, I think what would happen is that they would be in the carrier mode, and then Orion would give his powers. They would all come together on the Gao Lion. They would become something like this. So that's that. And then I believe also they also had the Red Lion head in the centerpiece here for a final strike. So that was pretty cool. I'm not going to show that again because it's a lot of work to pull it in and push it out again. But yeah, so actually, you know what? I'll just show it really quickly. If I could just pull this piece out. I'm just going to leave the back part as is. I hope you don't mind. It's sort of like in Centaur mode. But yeah, as you can see, if you do the clock action, and you have these wound up, they will spin together. So if I could just sort of wind these both up. And then just make it go. There we go. Look at that. Even the main Megazord spins. I believe it's the same gimmick. I don't really understand the mechanics behind Zords and what makes them move and stuff like that. But I believe it's a lot to do with these connector joints and how these inside nubs can move. But yeah, anyways, moving on. We have only 2 more Zords left in the collection. Okay, second to last, we have this Ninja Storm esque Zord. Now, it's very similar to the capsules that they had in Ninja Storm. You know, remember those things that they would summon out of like their chest, that they would use as like this, it was like a gotcha kind of situation. It was like, remember that whole part where they're like locked and dropped? It was like that. So this is very similar to one of the capsules that they had, but I find the Zord very just kind of sad looking. I mean, articulation wise, he has full movement of his arms, which is nice. But as you can see, the arms are sort of just sculpted into this part of his arm, and the rest is sort of used as, you know, what's going to happen in the transformation later. There's a back shuriken that detaches, but there's no way to put it in his arms because, I mean, he has no arms. He only has like this big bulky mass for arms. But I will say the sculpting on this season is quite nice. I mean, you know, there's a lot of detail in terms of, you know, like the indents and, you know, places where they didn't paint, but there's clearly some sort of markings and indenting and like there's patterning going on. So I do give the season credit for that, but I do feel like This is a little bit of a cop out, you know, just because it feels a little flimsy and weak. The arms are very easily detached. The connector pieces are much smaller. Obviously they had to do it to make the size matter for the larger Zord, but I mean, hey, you know, live and let die, I suppose. But yeah, this is that. It kind of has a Ninja feel a little bit. It reminds me of Ninja just a tad. Also, this little headpiece comes up and down. Actually, I just figured it out why it's like this. In the Bandai version, this one became like a Mega Winger from In Space, but I have the Sentai version, and it doesn't do that. So I'm a little pissed off, to be honest, with the outcome of this. You can kind of see the Mega Winger elements, I guess, barely. But I mean, you know, we do get this cool, I guess, Ninja Storm version. I guess it's cool. It's like a little Shogun. It actually kind of looks like a Shogun Zord, to be honest. But yeah, so that's that. This Zord's a little lackluster. I'm kind of disappointed. What it can do is just sort of fire out its little shurikens if you press the buttons on the top, and there's one on each leg. But I'll save that for the transformation because that's really where it shines. So in order to put it in there, it's the same thing as all the rest. You're gonna open up the Megazord, and then, you know, we put all the stuff in there. This gimmick does get old after a while, where you kind of gotta mix and match these Zords. I will be completely honest. But it is cool. You know, I don't fault the Sentai builders for doing this, because I mean, this was the whole gimmick of the season, right? Ranger keys and so on and so forth. I'll get into Ranger keys in a minute, because I need one in order to finish the whole set, I suppose. But I'll get into that in a minute. So anyways, these go in here, and yada yada yada, bada bing bada boom. This one is not up, so let's get that up there. One more arm goes in, like so. These are pretty much just the same kind of compartments. It breaks off really easy, though. I will give the Zord that. It breaks off really easy to put it in the Megazord, so that's kind of where it shines. I guess, you know, that's really giving it a stretch, though, so I don't really give it credit, to be honest. But anyways, this middle piece here, the cap goes down like so. There we focus. The little helmet goes down like that all the way, and then it kind of just sits. It should just sit within the thing. And this middle piece, this goes in like so, like just like that, and it flips in like that. So you may be thinking, well, that doesn't look very cool at all. You know, like, what the heck is all this all about? This nothing. Well, you would be very surprised to hear, my friend, that there's actually more to this than meets the eye. Much like this whole Megazord in total. So once you have everything like this, you're gonna want to actually be careful, because it happens. So if you hit everything out like this, and then you push these two buttons here, this pops out. Obviously the gravity of this is too low. The flip, so it's kind of flimsy and it sucks. But that comes out like this, and then now we have a little Ninja Storm logo, which I think is pretty cool. So there you have it, the Ninja Storm Megazord-esque thing. I think the Bandai, the Super Megaforce version of this toy does a much better job of capturing this sort of element, because in the American, or in the Sentai, I suppose, that's how it's supposed to be. Gee whiz. In the American version, it became like a Delta Winger. It had like a in space sort of mode on top of it being Ninja Storm, but they didn't do that with unlike how they did with the Samurai and the Wild Force collaboration, I suppose. But this is just strictly Ninja Storm, which is fine. I love Ninja Storm as a season. I think it's one of the better seasons of Power Rangers. I'm biased, of course, because of the me growing up in the Disney era. But I like it. I think this kind of falls short, though, in comparison to that Megazord. I just saw a video. Also, keep in mind that I actually don't have the piece that connects this sort of pinwheel to make it a sword, but I'll put a little image up right now. That's how it's supposed to look like. Pretty cool. Yeah, so that's that. On to the very last Zord of our collection here. This is the Turbo Falcon. Look at that monstrosity. My goodness, this thing is huge. I gotta move everything back for this guy. Um, yeah, this guy is huge, dude. Um, bigger than anything that one of the probably the bigger Zords that I have in my collection, to be honest. This thing is like almost as long as my forearm. This thing is huge. It also weighs a hefty ton, primarily because, well, I mean, it has some battery components and stuff like that. But this is the Turbo Falcon. It was the last Zord to be introduced in the season. I think it had like a Time Force element to it, but I don't quite remember. All I remember is this thing zipping around like in because it has like a hover mode. If you put all the wheels down, it has like a hover mode, and I remember just it flying all over the place. But yeah, so on the wheels here you can see it says Super Sentai on them. Obviously in the American version it probably says Super Megaforce on them and stuff like that. It has all the RPM elements to it, like the engine soul and the fact that it's sort of like a person sort of situation. It's kind of like a car person. That is coming off, I believe. There we go. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty cool. I love the paint job on this thing. I love the sort of like return to RPM look to it. It has a lot of sticker work, very obvious sticker work, and if you feel it throughout, it feels like that. But otherwise, it's pretty good. There's a lot of like indents here that I really like. A lot of detailing on this that I like. Mainly plastic again, so that's kind of a bummer. But I mean, here it is. It also came. Mine also came with the Gold Ranger as a Ranger key. I don't know why. I kind of wanted the Red Ranger, but I mean, I'll take a Ranger key. This guy kind of sits in here. There's a little slot for him right at the bottom there. So he kind of sits in here. And then that's that. And then there's that. To transform him, there's really not... Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention. These things, if you press these two buttons, these pop out. And you can put actually engine soul... little engine souls thing in here. I actually hate how these sound. That's why I've never pulled the pin on them. I actually hate how these things sound. I have all the RPM toys, and by God, it sounds super annoying. So I'm gonna pull the tab, and this sound right here, that sound has been with me for so long. I pulled the tabs on the old RPM toys, and it's fine, whatever, you know. But I've just heard it so many times over the years that it's just been like such a pain in the ass to hear the sound over and over again. That sound. All right, but these two are pretty cool. If I could take the other one out, these are sort of like the legendary RPM version. This one has the Super Megaforce logo, and this one has obviously like the one from RPM. It also, if I could focus here, it also has. Oh, there we go. It also has the engine soul marking on it, so that's pretty cool, and it also a little holographic action going on. So I'll pull the tab on both of these, and then I'll put them in. Oh, there it is again. I'll put them into the car to see if there's any like interaction between the two. Let's see. Whoa, and it suddenly comes alive. I don't know if there is a battery element to these. But that light comes up there, and then that light comes out there for it. I don't know if there's any other interaction with them though. We'll have to see. But yeah, this is another carrier Zord. So if we could stick the original Megazord in here, I'm gonna take the legs off. And I'm sorry, I'm back. Okay, everything kind of came apart when I tried to snap everything together. I've made more room on the table, and I've put the Ninja Zord and I've reformed and put him back here. So yeah, this is the second carrier Zord or mode, I guess. Yeah, this guy over here. Oh, I dropped the sword again. This guy here is sort of like the same as the Red Lion Zord. It has the leg pieces in here. You can kind of roll around if you have the wheels, and it kind of stays stagnant if you have the wheels up. For the hover mode, and then that's pretty much it, I would say, for this part of the Zord. There's nothing really else super cool about it. But next, let's get into the Megazord. I'm gonna clear everything off the table for this next part because it gets kind of big. Okay, now that we have a little bit more room, I'm going to show you the transformation for this thing. So the arms come off of here, first of all. We're not going to need Racer and Jet for this next part, although you will need the sword, so keep those on the table. I'm just going to put these away. Next, you're going to take the arms from the Q-Rex Megazord, and then you're going to take them off and then put them onto the Megazord as it is right now. And this one will snap off. Come on. There it is. And then that goes on here. There we go. And then the fist comes out like so. Oops. Let's just get the fist out. There we go. And then now we have like pretty much all 6 Rangers in the same cockpit. That's how like Orion joins the team or whatever in the sense. So now what you're going to do is you're going to break apart the Megazord so that, or break apart the Turbo Falcon. So this comes off, and then this headpiece will come straight off the Megazord or the Zord, just like so. And then you can leave that there for now. And these 2 bits will become the legs of the Megazord. So as this stands right now, we're gonna take this afterburner off. We're gonna take this, which is the headpiece, off the Zord, and then we're gonna pretty much break it in 2. Splice it right in twain. So if I could just, there we go. And then we have like these stickered patterns here. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna put the wheels and fold them back like this, and then take the other wheel, fold it back like so, just like that. And then now we have 2 legs for our boy to stand on. Yeah, and then let's put them on there like that right now. In the show, it's kind of hard to represent this because they basically, like, all the parts come flying off all at once. So it's a little bit hard to show in tandem. There we go. That's there like that. And we're also going to fold this part up in the leg, just like so. Perfect. Okay. So moving on, we're going to take the helmet off. And then we're also going to take this front passenger part, I suppose. We're going to take that off as well, but I need to remember how to, oh, there it is. So we're going to take the wheels off first and then just leave them aside for now. And then all you're going to do is put this part into the front of the Megazord. And next up, you're going to put this centerpiece into the middle here. I'm sorry I'm cutting so much. It's also just because it's been a long time since I played with these, so it takes a while to get used to again. So this will come up here, and you just snap into place. And you're gonna leave this locked for now, and then you're gonna fold those in right there. Next up, this fist here will lock into the fist of the Q-Rex. So if I just move this up here, and then it should just lock in place, just like so. And it should just sort of like be a big extra glove thing, right there like that. And then there's really nothing to do with these. The drill side, but I like to leave it out here like that so it actually feels like there's something going on. The helmet's already off. And then now all you're going to do is, there's 2 more things to this. To take the headpiece, you're going to take the swords from the Megazord, the regular Megazord, I might add. You're just going to put them into the back. There's little nubs here for them. Snap it in there. There we go. Just like that. All right. There's 2 more things after this. Actually, no, there's only one more thing after this. See these wheels here? These will go into the back here, just like so. And then just like that. And then it should just clip into place if you do it right. The legs have to be kind of like, it's kind of finicky. You have to spread the legs apart just a bit in order to get them. There we are. Just like that. So now it has a little ass for you right there, a little spinny ass. Also, I didn't notice this before, but it has Gokaiger on the bottom sticker here, which is cool. That's the Sentai nameless RPM. Okay, cool. So the last bit, all you gotta do now is twist the clock, and it should, hopefully, it should just snap out. Look at that. Whoa, it has its own voice line. I didn't even hear that. So the engine soul provides its own voice line. So I'll give it to you right now because you didn't quite hear it. So if I just snap this back into place, I'll twist it back, and then set it down, and then I'll put the mic right over it, like so, and snap it one more time. So that's pretty cool. It has its own like little Sentai music. I'm assuming in the Bandai one, there's no Super Megaforce or whatever, blah 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 blah. But that's that. That's the ultimate Megazord. So, I mean, that's kind of the end of the review. Let me just get everything back up here. Before I get to the end of the video, I'll just give my overall review of the Zords. I like them. They're okay. This Ultra Zord is pretty cool looking. I mean, it has implements of everything. Although you kind of miss out on the main 5 Zords. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no... Besides the Skyship, you don't really get a sense that there's all 5 Zords here. But it's a pretty cool looking Zord. I mean, it's huge and it's bulky like all Ultra Zords should be. But, you know, it only uses the implements of, you know, the Carrier Zord, and it kind of excludes all of the other Zords a little bit. But in the final showdown, I remember them just using all the Zords all at once. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I like overall, I like them. I love the paint job and the sculpting of all these. I hate that there's no die cast in them. Like, they're a lot of just plastic, which is, I guess I could live without it. But I mean, you know, it would have been really nice to have some, you know, cold metal feel to make these things feel really bulky. But otherwise, you know, just like the Delta Runner, even though I love this Zord a lot, it feels a little flimsy in terms of like the wheels and how they're not metal. It's just plastic wheels. Same with everything else. I mean, like, these are all plastic parts. They fit really nice. I mean, all Sentai Zords are super well made. But, you know, obviously a little bit of metal would have been nice. I think just because, you know, now that they're being mass produced, you know, Sentai Zords are being mass produced, they kind of just have to cheapen the materials, just so that they can get them out there. But overall, pretty jazzed about these. I like them a lot. The only part I don't really like is this guy. But I mean, hey, take what you can get. Skyship's pretty cool. Delta Runner, amazing. Mystic Dragon, amazing. Gao Lion, amazing. Everything else, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's sort of the end of the review. I mean, these are all the Zords on display. I decided to give the Q-Rex Megazord some arms because they look kind of lonely. And plus, like, when they transform, they all kind of run at each other. The Q-Rex Megazord just runs, and then the regular Megazord runs at the Turbo Falcon. So I figured I'd just give him some arms. Figured he might be, you know, have some utility otherwise. But that's pretty much the end of the review. These are all the Zords from Super Megaforce. I hope you enjoyed this sort of little romp with me. I'm trying to complete the sets for Jungle Fury and Mystic Force and Operation Override. So those will probably be the last ones that I do of this. I don't really have too many toys lying around, even though I would say I have a lot. I don't have too many complete sets out there. So I would love to get my hands on some complete sets. So if I ever get a chance in the future, maybe I'll do more of these. But if you liked it, I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't. CabbageCorgi everywhere. I really love doing videos like this because it reminds me of how I was a kid, and it's better than the video essays because, you know, with video essays I can talk about all I want, but this is sort of like a piece of my childhood that I get to relive, and I'll get into more stories maybe next time, maybe about how, you know, how I played with these when I was younger and stuff like that. This was just a very late edition. This is probably one of the last things that I bought. That's why there's not many stories behind this. But this came out in 2011, so I mean, it was 9 years ago. So it was a nice little romp down memory lane. I remember playing these when I was a kid. It's super fun. But if you know anyone that has a complete set of these Zords, would like me to do and play with them and do a little review, let me know and contact me. I'll link an email in the description down below, so that maybe we can get in contact and maybe I can, you know, loan your Zords for maybe just a video and then send them right back to you. I'll be more careful with them because obviously, you know, like, I'm a little reckless with mine because they're mine. But if it's yours and you're letting me borrow them, I would love to get my hands on them, just to have, again, like, I grew up in the Disney era of Power Rangers, so, you know, they're like SPD, Dino Thunder, stuff like that. So, you know, it'd be really nice to expand and sort of see other things. So, but I'll try and do other ones later. I hope you enjoyed. Again, thank you to JT Mitchell 87 for letting me have such an amazing childhood and reminding me that, you know, like, you know, these toys are more than just toys. You know, it's things that you put on a shelf and forget about. You know, I really enjoyed playing with these again, and it gave me sort of the sort of nostalgia wave, I guess. So anyways, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all hopefully in the next episode. Bye bye.